Hello and welcome back to another episode of More Than a Business Live. I am your host, Mitch Case. I'm also the co-founder of my wife and I's company, More Than a Meal, where we help organizations strengthen their most valued relationships by showing gratitude and appreciation one meal at a time. We are coming to you every single Thursday at 3 p.m. Central Time, bringing on HR executives, business owners that have done the hard work day in and day out to create a place of work that is desired to show up, which is truly the title of our show, More Than a Business. But today's episode is unique in the sense that our guest is more customer facing for the most part, has some influence internally, but we're going to dive into a lot of what truly makes the business more than a business on the external side of things. So I'm really excited to have him on the show. But before we go and do that, I do want to have a shout out to our sponsor, True Captive, who believes in healthcare that is personal and insurance that is not complicated. I know we would all greatly appreciate that. So if you do want to learn more about this unique captive healthcare program, go ahead and go on over to truecaptive.com, shoot me a message. I'd be happy to get you connected with their leadership team as well. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and welcome Mr. Mark Waterbury with Basepoint. Mark, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Mitch. I appreciate you having me on.
I've been looking forward to this one because traditionally, as I mentioned on that intro, we've been really focused on the internal side of things. And I think a lot of what truly makes a company more than a business is not just the internal side, it is also the external customer facing side. So why don't you go ahead and tell us just a little bit about you, what you do in this whole thing called Basepoint Building Automation?
Happy to. Again, I appreciate you having me on. My background, this coming May 2024, I'll be doing this career for 39 years. I've started as a union pipe fitter, worked my way up through the ranks. Luckily, I've always been on the service side of things, and then, slowly with great mentors through the years and 3 or 4 other companies before I got to Basepoint, I was able to work my way up into a vice presidency with this company. I am vice president of service for Basepoint Building Automations. I oversee all of our offices. We have 7 offices in the Midwest. I try to work on the business, not in the business, and that's a wink. I think all of us are always working in the business, but yeah, we always try. So that's a quick synopsis. I used to run HVAC controls. I was a union pipe fitter for 27 years. The union done well by me. I hope I done well by the union before I resigned out in 2011, and I'm thankful for everything that's got me to this point.
How good are your welds still today?
The nice thing is you heard me mention I'm a service guy. I couldn't weld 2 pieces of wood together. Wink,
Okay,
wink. Everybody knows welding. That's impossible. So,
I spent 10 years in the mechanical industry and saw a lot of really, really large pipes getting welded together, and was always impressed by the skill that those individuals have. So kudos to you for an excellent career so far. And well, I do want to just kind of shout real quick. So if anybody that's tuning in here, let us know if you're looking in from LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, wherever you're coming from. Let us know where you're at city-wise as well. Say hi to Mark. And if you have any questions as we're going through this, go ahead and shoot those in the comments, and we'll be sure to try and get those answered before the end of the episode. But Mark, the way I like to start this show off is just an impact story. Really something, whether that's been you or Basepoint, that has had a direct impact on a customer, if that's the case that you want to go, or potentially even a team member of yours.
Well, I'm going to bring up something that happened several years within Basepoint. We had a team member who tragically was playing some pickup basketball on a Sunday afternoon, was tripped and fell headfirst into the wall underneath the basket. The outcome was not good. It's a call we received on Monday morning. The VP of that office spread it throughout the organization. His name is Eric Klosterman. Eric was diagnosed. It compressed his C4, C5 vertebrae.
Oh my goodness!
He was diagnosed as a quadriplegic.
Oh my!
He fought through a lot. Our company jumped in. We had so many employees donate their PTO, donate their sick pay. As a company at the time, we did not have, temporary disability, long-term disability. So we did everything as each individual employee to help Eric make it through these tough times. Eric done it. He's a very, very proud, respectable human being. Mm-hmm. He fought through all the rehab. He raised 3 sons. He is back with us. one of our
Wow.
most sophisticated programmers, comes in every day. We've set everything up for him. He is now set up to where he's got motion in both hands. He
Whoa.
types
Okay.
better than I type.
Okay.
He was a smart man, and he carries a load that a lot of us don't. He can multitask with many customers, with many of us. The outcome for us as a company is it made us pull back and realize that we had a great benefit structure, but we needed to do better. So now, as a benefit, we provide short-term and long-term disability. So with tragedies, you learn. And
Yeah.
as a company, we learned a lot. Not only did we learn about ourselves internally and as a
Wow.
company and how to grow and how to be better for employees, we learned that employees have a great heart and a great will to move on. And Eric's a huge display of that, I guess is the best way.
Yeah.
He's a model that we all to live up to and show appreciation to every day. So, we can't go any day without Eric in our office, and he's a great asset. He's in our Cedar Rapids office.
Okay. Yeah.
Like I said, he's just a great individual.
Wow. I mean, just a testament of like just resiliency. That strikes a chord with me, Mark. And I don't know if you knew this about me, but I actually host a pickup basketball group here in Kansas City on Friday mornings. And knock on wood, we haven't had any scenarios of that, but definitely individuals that, have the typical sprained ankles or stretched a hammy a little bit too far. And, that's the reality of what we do, is that there's so much going on outside of our work life that will directly impact our work life. And obviously Eric's story is a very extreme story in that scenario, but kudos to you guys for, not just the company itself, but I always love hearing about team members and how they come together, and it's just the right thing to do. Wow.
I agree.
That's incredible, Mark.
Yeah, it's an amazing story, and we're happy it's got the best outcome that could have happened. He's having a successful life, and we're able to rock it because of him here at Basepoint.
Well, even giving him the tools to be successful in the work that he still gets to do. I imagine that put a lot of strain on his family, and just like, what are we going to do? Like, what will you be doing for income? And, for the company to step in to help with the short-term disability, but like legitimately employ him so that he can go and create work and pay and all of that and still contribute at a high level to his work in society. So kudos to you guys. Thank you so much for sharing that, Mark. That is really an impactful story, no doubt. Kind of transitioning into our next question, it's very obvious at this point with what you guys did in Eric's situation, but tell us a little bit about Basepoint, and specifically like what makes it more than a business. And I would love for you to hit a little bit on the client side experience, as well as some internal stuff as well, if you have that.
Well, I think we have a lot of stories with clients and stuff. Some of our biggest customers, are not customers; they're partners. So when you develop relationships and internally in customers, there's always things going on where they might need a little help here and there. They've got a little charitable organization or something they need help. Basepoint does everything it can to step up. We support the DARE programs. We've been asked for many years to help supply food and drink to some of the DARE camps for children. We stepped up for 2 customers, and we've done that kind of stuff. If they ask us to show up for events, and in some way just contribute our time. It's not always about money with customers. I never wanted to sound like they're always out there asking for that stuff, but our time is important with them. I've got a lot of them that are friends today. Our whole organization, you can't go anywhere in any of our offices that they don't have a customer that turned into a partner, that turned into a friend, that you're invited to their birthday parties. I've got several customers that I absolutely know their children, and it's just that relationship that we build. And Basepoint does everything in its power to try to be there when they need us And I don't just mean on a service call or a project or a bid. There's several times they just need advice. We offer the advice for free. We go in and we do some design for them, and things like that. Things that are kind of intangible that a lot of companies may or may not do. I can't report on. I've only worked at 4 other companies outside of this one, so I can only tell you that it's a relationship, it's a partnership. We've been there for a lot. The Children's Hospital here in Kansas City is a huge customer of ours, and we've been down and participated in a lot of the children's stuff with them. And at one time we had an employee here that done the animal balloons and all that stuff. We went down and sat outside because we couldn't go inside because of plastics and stuff like that. But built animal balloons for kids, and those kinds of types of things.
So a word you said a lot through all of that was relationship, and especially like I experienced both the new build construction and then the service side when I was in the construction world, and you being focused in on the service side, like more so than ever. I think that is relationship based. I don't know if this is a trick question or not, but I'm going to go ahead and ask it for you. But like, what do those deep relationships, you've invested a lot of time, energy, effort, and some money into these relationships. What does, and this is kind of for anybody that's new in any industry, really, to build those relationships, what does that relationship allow you to have in that business world when there's transactions, when there's money being traded hands? What does the relationship actually provide you?
Crucial conversations, open dialogue. You get into a situation, maybe it didn't end well, maybe things didn't go the way they were supposed to go. It gives you the freedom to walk in and have an honest, open conversation about where the failure points were at, and you have a trust built with them that they know you're going to take care of it in some fashion. And it's whether we step back in, redo what we messed up, whether the information that was supplied to us by our partners really didn't match up to what we proposed to do. But I think the biggest thing that you get when you build a relationship with customers and the long-term relationships, our office in Kansas City has been here 20 years, and I've had many, and I say I apologize, we have had many of these customers for 20 years. And those aren't always fun times. You have the times when everything just goes good and you just don't feel like you can do wrong. And then there's always a mess up. There's a conversation that happened in the hallway that shouldn't have had certain things said. And you're invited to the table. The relationship and the trust is well enough that, you get an honest phone call, not an email, not a text, a phone call, inviting you to the table, tell your side of the story. And then once again, them being honest with you, saying, hey, we kind of messed this up. How can you help us? And I just think the key is always open. And I use the word crucial conversations. Anybody that's ever read the book?
Fantastic book.
I'm talking about. It's not just an employee conversation that you have. It's open dialogue with every customer. And within those customers, I might have on my level have a CEO or a vice president that I talk to, but I also know there's people below me that I can visit with, and people below them that I can visit with. And the same for the managers below me have the openness to be able to go to a CEO's office to sit down and talk to them. And there's a lot of companies, if you're not in that know, the CEO is not going to spend time with you. That's not who they are. So I think it's crucial. I really do. That it's just, the open dialogue is the best thing you have with a good partner.
I think you answered that so well. I was very money hungry early in my career, and I focused more on, man, this relationship's going to earn me X amount of dollars versus this relationship is going to allow me to succeed in whatever area that is. And I once heard somebody say, a long-term relationship or a relationship earns you the opportunity to have the conversation, because you are correct. Especially in construction, if it can go wrong, it will go wrong. And you want to have that person coming to you, being able to have a hard conversation, but you've earned the right to have that conversation, because otherwise that's a quick Google review and you will never see them again type
Yep,
scenario. So
absolutely.
I wholeheartedly agree with everything that you said there. And I hope if anybody is listening in this, whether they are in sales, whether they are a leader, whether they are in HR, developing that relationship allows you the opportunity to earn the conversation with whoever that individual is for whatever conversation that needs to be had. So really, really appreciate that, Mark. Man, I'm fired up. You got me going on that one. Let's transition to you, man. You've been doing this for, I think you said 39 years, correct?
Yep.
I imagine every single day out of those 39 years, you just walked in, everything was perfect, sunshine and rainbows. Of course, I'm kidding about that. I know there's going to be the hard days that come through. So what continues to motivate you after 39 years of having the good days and the bad days, and quite honestly, probably some ugly days, to show up and continue to get to serve the people that you're blessed to serve, both clients and your team members?
Before I come on the show, that was, you kind of are really good about kind of prepping us a little bit. And that one is just, I don't know how people answer that. I even went back and watched some of your shows and thought, everybody's got a different motivation of why they do things. So I've always lived my life, and I've said this a lot, you have a choice when you wake up in the morning. You can swing your feet out of the bed and hit the floor. I almost said it. PO'd at the world. I apologize.
Hey, you're okay. I can't censor too much, but you're good.
We'll keep it clean. PO'd at the world and upset that you got to get out of bed, or you can swing your self out of bed, let your feet hit the floor. Thank God that you were able to stand up and put your clothes on, put a smile on, and come to work. The day is going to beat the hell out of you. Good days beat the hell out of you. So I started off upset. So that's rule number one with me. It's been that way for a long time. I think anybody that's known me, spending time with me, I'm a morning person. I'm usually at this office, and I'm never here later than 6. Just as here 4:30. I mean, I cannot wait.
Goodness,
I cannot
Mark.
wait to get to the office. I think anybody listening knows that you have those nights. You wake up at 2:30 in the morning, and you're going to fix the world, and you should have been president of the United States, and there's just days that I just wake up and there's just no reason to go back to sleep. I need to get started. I need to get thoughts going. And so it's just a nature of me to be up early. And so when I get here, I truly love my job. And I know people say that, and I truly, anybody that works with me will know that when they talk to me, I love my job. And what keeps me going through the bad and the good, I'm not positive I know the answer to that. I think the fact that at somewhere there's a resolution, somehow, you have that conversation, you can calm somebody down, you're relied on to get the conversation started, or you're relied on to fix it. Knowing that when I go home at 4:30, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock, whatever time that is, I happen to go home, that I go home, sit down next to my wife and look at her and say, didn't start out well, but it ended well, or it started out well and it didn't end well, whatever it is. But I live to teach. I coached girls fast pitch softball for 17 years. We traveled the country
with these
young ladies and got them into college and stuff. So I learned how to deal with different personalities. I've learned, and I've never went to school for any of this. It's just innate. But I think the driving factor is to know that there's going to be a day I'm going to hang it up here at Basepoint. And I'm hoping that we look back, and when it's turned over to somebody else, they just pick it up and run. That, that I've done my job along with the company to build a succession plan that continues. It doesn't have to be started over. And when I left, it fell on its face. And, there's a lot of things and books out there that talk about, good to great and all kinds of different things that I've been through in the last 2 years. We changed leadership here, and I've had to learn a lot. But I don't measure my success. The success, I guess, comes. I don't look at failures and success. It's not about me being successful. It's not about people talking about me when I leave. Well, hopefully they don't talk bad about me, but I do.
I've always told people the biggest compliment you can have is when people talk behind your back and you get good news from that.
We hope that all happens. But I do want it to feel like it just seamlessly happened, and we just kept right on going, and we kept growing. you know, it was like, oh man, Mark set us up. You know, I have 8 people underneath me directly, and then I'm not even sure what the count is underneath them, but I'm hoping it don't miss a beat. I really think that's the only thing I'm looking for, is to make sure that I'm building a succession plan, and everybody that under my leadership is better off at the end of every day. I've made them happy. I've satisfied their needs, and I've provided the tools to be successful. And to me, if I retire out of here, that'll be what drove me to here, because I am not money driven. If I were money driven, I would probably be trying to do something else. You know, if it was all about money and all about getting rewards and trophies, and I don't like talking about myself. I always use the words we and our, and I try not to use I. And you heard me apologize for using I.
Heard it.
Catch myself. I say it, and I know as soon as I say it, it's wrong, because there is nothing here about me. I guess that's what drives me.
You know, you've given just a lot of insight, and like just having, you know, a plan, a purpose, and your passion and all of that. But I mean, the thing that you just said right off the bat is we get a choice every single day to choose if we're going to wake up happy or we're going to wake up mad at the world. And a buddy of mine, Cody Isabel, he does some like neuroscience stuff, and he always talks to me about the brain. And I'm like, dude, I don't. You're way above me. But he always talks about, like, we have the ability to choose that. And what you talked about is choosing to wake up and happy, and even getting motivated. He's like, you don't wait for motivation. Motivation happens after you've accomplished things. So you have to get going, get started to get motivated. So one of the things he always says is, like, as soon as you wake up, put your feet on the ground, because that's step one of one thing that you've done. And then step two, what I'm going to take away from you, Mark, is like, it is a glorious day to wake up, and I can't wait to have a cup of coffee. I really appreciate that. Well, we are kind of nearing the end of the time. So something that my wife and I wanted to make sure that we do at this show every single week is just show our own gratitude and appreciation for you taking the time, your wisdom, your effort, energy, all of that. We want to allow you to send a meal from More Than a Meal to someone that you think deserves a meal, whether they're going through a hard time or it's a time of celebration, or they just flat out, they've been working so hard, they just need a break. So yeah, Mark, do you have anybody in mind for that?
I do. You know, I took a lot of time to think about this, and kind of a short conversation I had about 30 minutes before this show. I'm going to, you know, send the meal to Lisa Porter. Lisa Porter has been with this company for over 30 years. She's one of our lead purchasers out of our Cedar Rapids, Iowa office. Yeah. She's taking care of her mother. Her mother lives alone, and she's doing a great job. You know, she's trying to figure out how to watch this recording. She had to leave early to go help her mother. And she was just, you know, telling me about this, and, you know, she thought enough of me to figure out, you know, where do I watch the recording, Mark? I want to watch it, blah, blah, blah. And then she explained she had to leave early and go up and take care of her mother. And it just clicked in my brains. I mean, I'm not too sure the company will survive if she ever decides to retire. She's like me; she may never. But
no pressure, Lisa.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, she will get to watch this. So I'm going to throw it out to Lisa. I just think she deserves it. I think anybody that works at Basepoint will, you know, put a little cheers up to that, and 100% agree.
So we'll definitely, after the show is over, we'll get connected and make sure we get that over to Lisa. I'm going to have a lot of comments coming up here in a little bit, but while you do that, why don't you tell us if any of this resonated with anybody that's listening? Let us know what's the best way to get a hold of you, Mark, so that they can touch base with you.
Well, like everybody, the one thing I will say is that I am not on social media, folks. I'm an old timer, but I do have LinkedIn. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can reach me by email, mwaterbury@basepointba.com. You can reach me by cell phone, 913-927-4854. My direct office line, 816-546-4571. And like I say, LinkedIn is probably the best way to get a hold of me. It's the one social media. You know, I had it all at one time, and 9 years ago, I just had enough, and I apologize to everybody. We do have a Facebook page at Basepoint, our website, www.basepointba.com. You can find me on there too. So there are several ways to reach out to Mark Waterbury. I'll do everything that I can to help and answer any questions anybody has. And I'm going to stop here for just a second. I swear I just seen Raymond Arnone just say hi.
Well, I was going to surprise you with a question that Mark wanted me to ask you here in a second. So,
Okay.
or Raymond wanted to ask you here in a second. But if anybody has any challenges getting a hold of Mark and you only have Facebook, just reach out to me. I'll hook you up with Mark and we'll get you guys connected. But Mark, we had a ton of people popping into this show. Quite honestly, the most comments that we have had on a live show. So you
Cool.
just speaking truth
Hell yeah.
to a lot of anybody out here. And I can raise my hand to say that I have learned a lot just from this short conversation
Thank
as
you.
well. So I told you I was going to wrap this up with an outro video, but we will do that. But before we do that, Ray, I used to work with Ray when I was selling equipment over to Design Mechanical, but he wants me to ask what happens when you wash dark clothes and white clothes together. Is that an inside kind of question there? Do I need to censor this? What's going on here?
Damn, Ray and I go a long way back, and boy, I don't remember that one, Ray. I remember when we were both in the field as pipe fitters.
I was gonna say, I figured you guys were out there hauling pipe.
I'm pretty sure we all know what happens. You might end up with Ray Arnone.
You don't want to end up with Ray.
I'm so sorry.
It's all good. I love seeing, like, Ray is somebody that I get to hang out with a lot, and I haven't gotten to hang out with him for over 3 years. So, Ray, thanks for tuning in and bringing some heat too. Mark, man, I can't thank you enough for coming on this show. This is truly something that I look forward to every single Thursday, and I'm very guarded with the individuals that I get to have on this show. And the moment we had our conversation, I knew that you were somebody that I was really excited to have on there. So, here's to another 39 plus years if you want to make that happen. But thank you so much for just sharing your wisdom, your personal stories, and just the work that you guys do at Basepoint. I really encourage anybody that does want to hear more from Mark to reach out to me or him. We'll get you guys connected one way or another. That's about it, though, man. Do you have any last remarks you want to say before I kind of kick us out of here?
No, I mean, really, I appreciate the opportunity. I had a good time. I hope somebody got something from it. At the end of the day, it's just like I live my life. If one person got some positive vibe out of it, that's great. Reach out to me. I'm happy to meet with anybody and have discussions, have coffee, and talk about life. I've been living a long time. And,
I love it. I love it.
So.
All right. Well, this wraps up our show, Mark. So I appreciate you coming on. Again, just a reminder, we're here every single Thursday at 3 p.m. Central Time. Next week, we're going to have Miss Trisha Hall. She's going to be coming in. We're going to be talking about the work that she does that integrates into her organization and the culture and all that kind of stuff. Just a heads up, we will take the week off between Christmas and New Year's because we got time to spend with the kiddos. So we're going to take a week off then, and we'll be getting back and already booked out through January with some amazing guests as well. So until next time, I appreciate you guys tuning in and have a wonderful rest of your week.